recently, I've watched a season of television which I absolutely love, but divided fans of the show hugely, pretty much straight down the line. The Sopranos, Season 6, Part 2, which I'm just going to refer to as Season 7.
Yes. I have seen it.
You've seen it.
But a very long time ago.
Yes.
So I don't remember any of these episodes, basically.
Basically, so...
Except for the last one.
The last one is a masterpiece. What's it called now?
Made in America.
Made in America. One of like the most famous episodes of television ever.
Yeah.
Yes. So basically, The Sopranos at this point was probably the biggest drama show anyway, on TV. It had been running for 6 absolutely acclaimed to the top tier. Everyone admitted it was the best show on television pretty much. And they made the final 9 episodes. Sopranos Home Movies, Stage 5, Remember When, Chasing It, Walk Like a Man, Kennedy and Heidi, The Second Coming, The Blue Comet, and Made in America. 9 titanic blocks of entertainment. HBO, one of HBO's true classics, The Sopranos. This is how it ends. Now, a lot of people were very divided at the time when this came out.
Oh yeah.
It got mainly like positive reviews, but this is the show where it's like most ambiguous. It's most sort of dark and dense. The show in a way is all about decay. It's all about how Tony Soprano goes from, at the beginning he's the top of the world where he's depressed, to the end where he's depressed and everyone around him is depressed and everything he ever cared about has been destroyed.
Oh, destroying.
And destroying, yes. So, the show started, the concept was a mobster goes to see a psychologist. It was a hack idea that had already been made into an Adam Sandler film. Not a Billy Crystal film. There's that film Anger Management, but that's not, he wasn't a mobster in that. So yeah, and the first season, which I also reviewed on this channel, is a classic, and it works in direct parallel to Season 6 Part 2, which is why I watched this directly after. Oh. So in Season 1 it's sort of more buoyant. If you were to compare it to a film, it would be Goodfellas.
Goodfellas, yeah.
It's very fast. There's a chance that he might be redeemed, basically, in the first season. So everything's more buoyant. The storytelling's a lot quicker. Everything comes together at the end, and it leaves you with a sense of satisfaction, which you don't really get with this. Despite the fact that I think this is much more ambiguous, it's a much better work of art. Is Season 6 Part 2. So it's completely dense with illusions and. Basically, if you've been watching Sopranos all the way through, you will see so many allusions to previous stuff in this. It'll just blow your mind. It feels like they knew every single conversation the characters had and fed it back into there. I can't imagine what it'd be like if you taught this for the first time. Do you know what's weird? In like American TV shows, the last episode is usually the one that gets most viewers.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
But it's like, why would you watch like the last episode of MASH? You've not seen any others. What kind of engagement can you get with it?
Well, I mean, even if you look at just an average season, we always have a really strong premiere, kind of dip in the middle, and then we always finish on a big high note.
Crap TV does usually.
Well, Game of Thrones and but most American TV shows follow that pattern.
Yeah, now they do.
Yeah.
But the reason why The Sopranos was so great compared to sort of Game of Thrones and the current crop is that every single episode is standalone but builds into a thing. Even at this point, this is what frustrated people so much. The last 2 episodes are the only ones that resolve the main storyline.
Yeah.
The first one, right? Imagine if you would wait. What they did in all was they separated them by a year, right? So essentially, you'd have to wait 3 years from the end of Season 5, right, to watch this. The first episode of Sopranos Home Movies is all just about Tony's relationship with his sister. It's his 50th birthday, and they go to a cabin and they just have a party. And that's the entire episode. So you had to wait a year thinking that you were going to get this big, it's the final season. You might have thought Breaking Bad where it was going to be all tense and stuff, and then you just watch this intimate character drama about him and his sister.
Yeah.
Imagine that. It's just insane. The level of dedication to sort of the characters and paying that off as opposed to a plot is just amazing. The fact HBO let them do it is even more amazing. They were losing, I think they lost a lot of viewers with the first part of Season 6. Because of the fact it just went nowhere. Season 6 Part 1 is by far the show at its sort of worst.
Some of the plots are awful.
Yeah.
Just I talked about it at length.
Yeah.
But man, oh man, do I hate the Johnny Cake storyline.
It is awful. Well, do you know the issue that they had, right, was that they got given, they were told they had 13 episodes left, right?
Yeah.
And then HBO said, do you want another 9? And they went, yeah. So they improvised the last 8 episodes,
Oh my
including
God.
the Johnny Cake storyline.
Oh, well, that explains it.
That was going to be resolved in 1 episode. Like, that was just going to be, like, it's a great premise, because it's a...
The idea is great, yeah.
It's a counterpart to Tony wants a new life after getting shot. And he has this opportunity to give someone else a new life, and he wants to, but forces push him and stop him. And that's a great episode. The only problem is it's not a great 9 episodes.
No.
It's just,
Also the fact that the character that the gangster falls in love with is so cliched, and you know, he's a firefighter, he's got a handlebar moustache, and he makes pancakes in a restaurant, and he's big and burly, and it's like a poster gay person.
It is, but they rectify that. They even play on that episode gets referenced in Chasing It, episode 4. His son is become a goth, and like it's all about Tony has the chance to make it right, where he's got like a really simple moral choice. A lot of The Sopranos is about moral choices. The episode introduces a moral choice, and the characters have to make one, and usually make the wrong one like he does here. So his option is to either send the kid away from New Jersey, away from this toxic environment, or to pay less money and to send him to like a, boarding schools. And he just sends him to a boarding school to save himself like $100,000, even though he can easily afford it.
Yeah.
And it's just this is the this is the point in the show where there isn't a single sympathetic character.
Oh yeah.
Everyone's awful, and that's another reason why it lost a lot of fans.
Isn't there something where like AJ, doesn't he like get together with like...
That's amazing.
Yeah, I seem to remember that, yeah.
AJ becomes sort of the moral voice of the show. Like, there's the best episode, in my opinion, of this season, and maybe the whole Sopranos, is called The Second Coming. AJ becomes unbearably depressed and tries to kill himself. And that's like, and then it's all about him trying to resolve those issues of being like, like a millennial teen. What this does is, every time you rewatch it, you'll see new things. And what it does brilliantly is portray how one generation goes to the next.
Yeah.
In a way that's really, really easy to spot, because it's all about, through the AJ storyline, they show Tony's mobster friends as kids, and they show how they're just as like horrible and venal and uncultured and just these horrible human beings, but they've become like stockbrokers and lawyers. And they play like the gambling like stuff rather than actually being mobsters. So it's a perfect way of showing like how one generation becomes these sort of shits that, but they're in like a legal thing. Also, I've watched this on the stunning new Blu-ray. Hold it up to the screen, man. With its horrible mannequins.
Look at that plastic. Now featuring in Madame Tussauds, The Sopranos. All your favourite characters recreated in waxwork figures.
But this really shows how Sopranos, I think, is the greatest. This season of television just looks amazing. This looks better than any film I've ever seen. That's how good it is. Even at the cinema, even at home, this just plays just as well as films I've seen in a cinema. It just looks incredible. Like, just visually how dense everything is, it's just amazing. But yeah, if you were watching the show, apparently a lot of people were watching it to see Tony get away with it. Like, I read some like message boards from the time when when this were on, and they were like, I don't like how they're making Tony so unlikable. At the beginning, he was this really great guy, and I wanted to see him beat the New York mob and rule everything. Now he's just a horrible character. It's like, the character from the beginning was awful.
Well, like, with Sopranos, like, I remember when I watched this the first time, I've only seen the whole thing once, and I watched it over the space of, like, half a year or something.
Yeah.
So, I remember at the time thinking, man, they're really, really not ending any storylines.
Yeah.
But oddly enough, it does feel like they're ending stuff.
Yeah.
It's really weird, because, like, I remember thinking, wow, I can't believe they're starting up a whole new plot with AJ.
Yeah.
So close to the end of the series. That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's different. But almost with each episode that passes, it does almost feel like a natural ending to each of the characters, as I remember it.
Yeah.
And obviously loads of the main characters dying this season.
Yes. Well, what's really interesting is that every episode sort of feels like a goodbye to a character.
Yeah.
Like, so Sopranos home movies is like a goodbye to Tony's relationship with Janice and Bobby Bacalai's brother-in-law. It's about him, Tony as a brother. Stage 5 is, that's an amazing one. It's the one where, it's got one of the best uses of music, right? The whole episode is this heartbreaking thing about how Johnny Sachs is dying of cancer, the New York guy, and Christopher and Tony's relationship's also dying, because this is also a really funny episode, because it's the one where it has that film Cleaver in it. Do you remember Cleaver?
Oh, yeah.
Where it makes it's got one of the funniest malapropisms, which is something they use quite a lot in the show, where a complete idiot watches it and like it's like they cleave it and they cut it so like a load of blood goes across a car windshield and hits a cross.
Oh yeah.
And the guy goes, "It's a great mixture of the sacred and the profane." It's full of great lines. This is just an amazing season of television. But like the way it ends, and The Sopranos always knew how to end episodes perfectly.
Yeah.
Like it ends with Tony at Christopher's daughter's christening, and it ends with that song "Chicken Town" by it's fucking Chicken Town. You'll probably know it from that film Closer.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing music cue on there. That's a 10 out of 10 episode. Remember When is sort of is Tony. It's really weird this episode because it's about Tony and Paulie Walnuts. You'll remember Paulie with the
I remember Paulie, yeah. Paulie.
Yeah.
Oh,
that guy, yeah.
Oh.
It's all about his relationship with him, but also about Tony's relationship with his father. Because what they do is they dig up the first body Tony ever killed, the person he ever killed, and move it. And he was instructed by his father. What it does and all is the whole season. Sopranos is weird because it's not really. It's a show where it works episodically as opposed to in a big picture kind of way. Like you were saying, storylines begin and start or get resolved in one episode. The structure of it has never really been replicated, I don't think, where stuff sort of just appears real. And like, what's really interesting is the way that every episode is set like months after another one.
Oh yeah.
It takes place over about a year, does this season. But like, you'd think that would give the show a feeling of being sort of like spread out, or...
Yeah.
Because it shouldn't work, should it? It shouldn't work doing these stories which are months apart from each other and make them have any kind of... Because even like shows that aren't serialised usually take place like a week after each other, like Friends or something, I don't know. You know, something where it's like week after week after week, but months in advance. And like, I don't think any show has ever sort of had like shown how relationships work throughout time. Like, if you watch the first season and the sixth, like the subtle ways that every character's developed and changed, and how they haven't changed or how their relationships are different because of these small moments throughout the whole show. It's incredible, like the relationship between Christopher and Paula, because it just built up through small... There was never an episode that was explicitly about how much they hate each other. Just little moments here and there, like just built up and up and up. And then like, the way that Paulie is the one who is responsible for his death in a way, because he pushes him back to drugs, is just incredible. Like, it's... No other show, I think, has ever built relationships up so much over just the course of like about 8 years is how long Sopranos lasted for. And also just the fact that it was like a massive cultural thing, and it was so ambiguous and so dark, and so it's just incredible, isn't it? I mean, like this show was the most popular like drama HBO. It's the most popular drama HBO I've ever had. Well, maybe expecting
until Game of Thrones.
Yeah, but Game of Thrones has never been as acclaimed or anything.
It's not as acclaimed, but it's more popular.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Sopranos was the biggest show until Game of Thrones. I think that's pretty fair to say. I think Sopranos has sort of died down a little now in terms of how much people... Well, you know, it's kind of weird with Sopranos because I hear from people trying to watch it and they can't get into it, which is, to my ears, is sacrilege.
Yeah.
Because it is still like... with Sopranos, it's just become part of modern American culture.
Yeah.
It's like, like something like Jaws.
Yeah.
We talk about Jaws quite a lot recently, but people don't say like, people don't talk about Jaws all the time on message forums or like we do about Game of Thrones, but it's kind of just going for background, it's back catalogue, but it's always going to be there. It's this great masterpiece of a film.
Yeah.
Or like a great novel, which something like Dickens.
War and Peace.
Yeah, like War and Peace, or something like Dickens, or something like that, where it just disappears into the background. People don't go on message forums talk about Charles Dickens all the time.
Yeah.
And they've become just part of just the consciousness of pop culture, and I think that's what's happened to Sopranos.
Yeah.
Maybe just obviously because it's not on anymore, and obviously people don't talk about old stuff as much as new stuff on the internet. But people talk about Sopranos a lot. People don't necessarily talk about other shows that were on at the time.
No.
I can't think of any examples.
Well, I think Sopranos, people love it and say, people say, critics probably...
Critical seem to say it's the best show ever.
I think that this, or The Wire, is usually held up as the best show ever.
Yeah.
Or, like, Deadwood, possibly, is like a third option for some. Those are the sort of the three that everyone says are the best. But yeah, like... I mean, this and all is a really good example of like just how amazing HBO were at the time.
Yeah.
They had this, as I say, The Wire. They had Deadwood. Could you believe, right? Apparently they were going to wear The Sopranos, and then straight after Deadwood.
Oh my god.
Can you imagine that as a night of entertainment?
That would be the best.
But they apparently thought Deadwood was strong enough to last on its own, so they put on this show called Big Love.
Okay.
Which is sort of not a very good HBO show. But they had this, The Wire, The Sopranos, Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah.
They just had like so many great shows on all at the same time. It was just amazing. And like this really is sort of like the end of HBO in a way, because HBO basically, their business model was they were making so much money off The Sopranos, they just funneled it into all this weird ambiguous stuff like
Deadwood.
Like Deadwood or John from Cincinnati. Or
if you want to learn more about Deadwood, watch our continuing series where we review every single episode of Deadwood. Now available on Absence of Waldo for your viewing pleasure.
Yes, Deadwood.
Deadwood.
Yes.
It's fucking awesome.
It's fucking awesome. Deadwood's better than The Sopranos. Yeah. But anyway, we're talking about The Sopranos. The Sopranos and all, this season especially details how much it's about decay. So I said this in the first ever Deadwood review we did, about how I reckon they form a very loose trilogy.
Oh, yes,
this Deadwood and The Wire.
Yeah.
So Deadwood is all about sort of the beginning of America. This is all about decay. Like you can see, like through this episode, like through this season, you can see how everyone becomes so old, and there's loads of shots that serve no narrative purpose, but they're just like everyone looks old and depressed.
And then the Wire is the failure of those systems.
Well, the failure is what happens when them systems break down and how much it impacts people on the bottom.
I've still not seen The Wire, so...
The Wire is amazing.
Yeah.
It's almost like frustratingly amazing. Because it's like, do you ever see something and there's no flaws in it?
Yeah, yeah.
But it means you can't invest as heavily in it. Like, it's really weird because it is the best show ever made. But you just can't. I just have no sort of, because it's so perfect. I just find it hard to embrace as much, and it's not as warm as the Deadwood or even the Sopranos. Like the Sopranos is the best one in terms of they all focus on different things. Like Deadwood is all about culture and this ensemble and like a big one society, and Sopranos is all about one human being.
The characters as well.
What?
In Sopranos, but like they're also full of life and they're funny and they're dramatic and.
But the Sopranos is the only one I was going to get to though, where it has one central. Like,
oh, that's true. Yeah.
Tony Soprano is the Soprano, isn't it? It's about him, and everything is filtered through his point of view. In a way, like it does follow other characters, but it usually will come back to Tony in at least, usually in a plot sense, but at least in a sort of like metaphorical sense. It all comes back to Tony. Like. I think the second to last episode, the Blue Comet, I think it has the most important scene, which is this amazing one where Melfi realises pretty much that Tony will never change, that he's just an horrible arsehole, and she kicks him out of therapy in this. It's a really amazing scene because it really subtly plays off of the ending of The Godfather. Like, you know the ending of The Godfather where Al Pacino stands in the door.
But never be part of my will, okay.
Yeah, and he shuts the door. Yeah. Well, they do an inverse of that, where Tony's waiting for at the psychiatrist's office. He's stood outside, and it's the exact same shot, clearly a reference, and Melfi shuts the door on him, as if shutting him out of, like, in The Godfather, it's sort of this masculine world of violence, and she's shutting him out of a world of healing and the way he can become better. It's an amazing shot. But pretty much after that scene, he might as well be dead.